What's up folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel Code to Create. I'm back with yet another exciting video, that is k-nearest neighbor. Now I can determine your layout based on your neighbors. That's what k-nearest neighbor means in simple words. Let's take it out with a small example. This is going to be the data set that we'll be using in practical implementation in here also. That's telecommunication provider. And here we'll be classifying 4 types, that is basic service, e-service, plus service and total service. Let's check it out with a small example. Determining the class using first KNN. That is, we'll be using only one KNN. And take this as an example, the last row, that is the 8th row. I'm going to represent this 8th row, that's what we are predicting, in a question mark. And you can see here when we calculated the nearest neighbor, we're going to get total service using only one neighbor. Now let's see determining the class using 5 neighbors. We are going to calculate the distance again, and we can see we have 3 plus service and 2 total service. So here we're going to calculate it as plus service because we have more plus service than total service. So using 5 nearest neighbors, we get plus service. And what if the k value is 20? It's not going to be good for our model when we predict it up. It's going to be only used to this particular data that we are using, and if we give any other data set, it's going to mostly predict it wrong. You guys can see here in the x-axis we have accuracy, in the y-axis we have the k value. This graph is to represent which k value is best suitable for this dataset and for this model. And when we check that out, 4 is the best k value for this dataset and for this model. Now how do we calculate the distance for getting the nearest neighbor? We use Euclidean distance method. It's a method for calculating distance. The formula for Euclidean distance is root of x1 minus x2 whole square. Now we know how does k-nearest neighbor work. Let's check it out with a practical implementation. I'm going to move up to Jupyter Notebook. I've already created a new Python 3 file over here. Now we have to start importing the necessary libraries. So let's do that. I'm going to import pandas for reading the file. And then I'm going to import the nearest neighbor. So I'm going to say from sklearn.neighbors import k neighbors classifier. Neighbors classifier. Let me run this. And then we have to read the data set. So I'm going to say df is equal to pd.read underscore csv. I'm going to move up to file where I've saved this. Yes guys, let me run this up. I've imported the data set now. And now I'm going to show you guys the data set first so that it's going to be easy for dividing the data set into x and y values. Oh, sorry. Yes guys, we have the data set now, and now we have to divide it into x and y values. I'm going to say x is equal to df of, so I'm going to say x is equal to df dot drop. I'm not going to drop it permanently from the data set, but for just getting all these values, I'm going to drop this custcast. Custcat. Let's check if the spelling is right. And let's set the axis. Axis is going to be columns. And then we have to set the y value. So I'm going to say y value is going to be df of, it's going to be this custcat. Yes. And then we have to split this data set into train and test. I'm going to say x train, comma, x test, comma, x test, comma, y train, comma, y test is equal to train test split. We're going to split this data set of x and y. So I'm going to say x comma y, and then we have to set the test size. So I'm going to say test size is equal to 0.2. We have to import the library train test split from sklearn dot model selection import train test split. Now let's run it. Sklearn dot model selection import train test split. There should not be. Oh yes guys, from sklearn dot model selection. Yes, Now we have split the data set, and now we have to fit the data set into k nearest neighbor. Let's do that. I'm going to say knn is equal to, I'm going to create a class for this. I'm going to create a class for k nearest classifier. And inside this parentheses, we have to put the k value. So let's do that. I'm going to say n neighbors is equal to 4. Yes. And then I'm going to say knn dot fit x train comma y train. And then we have to predict it up. So I'm going to say pred is equal to knn dot predict x train. Let me show you guys the value now. As you guys can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4s over here. I've converted into binary. So 1 is going to be basic service, 2 is going to be e-service, 3 is going to be plus service, and 4 is going to be total service. And guys, what are we predicting this for? Like, for which value we are predicting? We're going to predict it for x test values. Yes guys, now we know what is knn and how does it work. Thank you friends. Please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. Bye bye.